මේ IMF agreement එක සම්බන්ධව ආචාර්යවරුන්ට එන්න කියපු එක ඒක විශ්වවිද්‍යාල පද්ධතියට කරපු ගෞරවයක් විදිහට තමයි දකින්නේ. යමක් මම කියන්නම් විශේෂයෙන් මේ privatization ගැන මේ මුළු ලංකාවම අද කතා කරන නිසා. Sir, Telecom established in 1896 as a government department, converted as a corporation in 77, privatization in 91, 45% sold to NTT Japan, currently held by Global Telecommunications. Government shareholding 49.5%, current value 28 March 2023, government investment LKR 101.4 billion. Dividend received 2022 per share 2 rupees, total received by government only 1.8 billion. So Sri Lankan Airlines, established in 79, Ministry of Finance in its latest annual report records that the loss before tax of Sri Lankan Airlines for the year 21-22 is rupees 170 billion. The accumulated loss rupees 542 billion as at 31st March 2022. කවුරුත් හිතන්නේ මේවා ඔක්කොම අප්‍රීම තමයි ගෙවන්නේ කියලා. Government approved the reissuance of all letters of comfort that expired during the period amounting rupees $205.4 million and 27.6 billion in favor of two state banks to continue in operation. Total debt of Sri Lankan Airlines is over $1 billion. Sir. Hilton, established in 83, accumulated loss LKR 8.8 billion, net assets 13.1 billion. Lanka Hospitals, established 2002 as a branch of Apollo, subsequently acquired by the Sri Lanka Insurance in 2006. Subsidiary of the Sri Lanka Insurance accumulated profits 5.3 billion. Current market value is 26.7 billion. Litro Gas, established in 1872, acquired by the government in 2010, then for $63 million, subsidiary of CPC. Sri Lanka Insurance, established in 61, total equity of LKR 105 billion in 2021, net profit for the year 2021 LKR 5 billion. My last one, Sipetco, established in 62, market share 86%, net loss LKR 82 billion. Lanka IOC, profit for the same year is 0.9 billion. Sir, Lanka IOC profit for 9 months for 2022 and 23 is 30 billion. Loans from local banks LKR 67.3 billion. Why government need to invest, not undertaken by the private sector? High cost, very low return, high payback. So SLT, no private sector capable of investing at that time. It was a monopoly till 1990s when competition came by way of mobile connectivity. Sri Lankan Airlines needed an airline to promote air transportation where not many airlines flew in and out of Sri Lanka. Hilton in 1980, Sri Lanka hardly had any reputed international hotel chains. This would give confidence to tourists traveling to our country. There were many more investments in the tourism industry, Taj, Galadari, Cinnamon Lakeside, Aboroi, etc. They were diversed by much earlier. Essential service. If service were to be provided by private sector, decision to supply will be based on profitability. Consumers in low demand, remote areas would be deprived of the service at its unprofitability. Electricity, postal, health and transport. Management and efficiency, my last point, sir. Efficiency of SOEs, questionable. Politicization in appointments. Overstaffing, unable to compete with the private sector. Sri Lankan Airlines versus other airline operations to and from Sri Lanka. Return on assets employed by SLT is far lower than dialogue. Lot of people just consider whether it is profitable or not. That is not the point to think about, because we have to reduce the weight of the government in keeping business entities in the economy, sir. The view was that trade unions backed by political parties, a threat to consumer confidence, high operational cost resulting in losses, there is no accountability relating to SOE losses, and there is no transparency either. The view was that many government activities that should operate on a commercial basis and phase operation were actually a drain on public resources. Further, those proceeding over them lacked accountability for their decisions. Government role, the role of the government is to set the policy framework with necessary regulation to monitor and control service sector to the best interest of all stakeholders. The government should not engage in operating business in competitive environment. If it does, it is a conflict of interest. Government should look into areas where there is need by the people and engage itself only if there is no private sector investment in those areas. Government can invest but should not engage in commercial activity. Example, National Broadband Network, NBN, Australia. The largest single investment by the Australian government amounting to Australian dollars 50 billion to connect all households across the nation with broadband fiber access. Once connected, the government made available the infrastructure to the private sector service providers to offer broadband service to households at competitive prices. India recently diverted its airline, Air India, to private sector. After the airline run into continuous losses, why does Sri Lanka need an airline having so many losses of billions when India doesn't have one? Sir, there is a model which is similar to us. Not the South Korean, not the Singapore, even not the Indian, but they have done at the crisis situation, the model to come out from the crisis. The similar one is in New Zealand. They had the same crisis in 1980s. So we have to study the New Zealand crisis and how they have come out from. Mainly, they have made super policies to come out from the crisis. What they have done, sir, they have reduced the burden of the government in the economy and led the private sector to run the business in the system. Thank you very much.